going to go over to Paisanos
Oh my God,
and get
you're
my
not.
freaking money back.
Oh, you're not.
Yes, because you know what? I ordered the salad. I got the soup. It cost me $27. Freaking Andy's luncheon cost me over $70. Fuck that.
Welcome back to the Unrestricted, folks.
Hi.
Hey, Wally.
Hi.
Bob. How we doing? I'm Vex.
I'm fine.
I know. Well, you're fine, but we just figured something out very interesting about Walter Pasacreta, ladies and gentlemen.
That he's never actually seen American Pie.
Yeah.
I have not. I think I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I did not know this part of that movie.
Yeah, the way we came to the conclusion was that me and Bob were making jokes about this one time at band camp. And Bob said, yeah, the actress. What's her name?
Alyssa Hannigan.
Allison
Hannigan.
Hannigan. Yeah, everybody loved her after American Pie because what?
No. Everybody loved her from Buffy.
Oh, okay.
When she
My
was
wife-
Willow in Buffy.
Yes,
Okay.
my wife watched Buffy, and so I'm very familiar with her. But I did not know that one time at band camp came from American Pie.
You thought that had been in the American lexicon since what, the 1800s?
I just thought I had invented it, frankly.
Did you think that you had invented the whole thing in the pie thing from that movie?
You mean the flute up the...
He's never seen the movie. He's never seen the movie, Bob. It's going to be lost on him.
I don't know where that movie's available, but I'll have to check it out.
It's available, and you probably
Is
should.
American Pie the thing where she puts the stuff in her hair?
No, there's something about Mary.
Oh, something about Mary.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got them confused.
Good
No.
night. Same era, more or less.
I have seen The Godfather, all of them, so...
Oh,
here's
well,
that.
good. That was only 50 years ago.
Just in case you were wondering.
Musty reference.
Musty. There's Musty. We haven't had Musty in weeks. Since what the hell's his name?
Richard.
Since Richard was here, we haven't had a Musty reference.
Our musty reference has gone musty.
Leave it to you. You're turning 60 years old next month, right?
Shut up.
Aren't you?
Yes, I am turning 60.
Okay. Wow.
March the 4th.
Wow, that's
We
great.
had Andy Everett's 60th birthday party the other day.
That's nice. How'd that go?
It was fine.
Awesome.
We went to...
Did he smile?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he may have.
He may have. All right.
Here's a real quick tidbit on the 60th birthday party, which was held at a private room in Paisanos at the Quarry.
Mm-hmm.
So, in trying to eat healthy, I decided to have minestrone soup and a salad.
Nice.
The salad being spinach and mushrooms, I think it was. Spinach and mushrooms. I looked at the picture. I looked at the diagram of the salad, and I go, yeah, I think I'll have that. I'm going to have that. Yeah, give me the dressing on the side. The plate comes out as I got the soup, which was wonderful. The salad comes out with blue cheese crumbles on it, cranberries as well. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, this isn't what I ordered. Spinach. I think there was mushrooms on it. I can't even remember. I was like, you know what? Maybe I just misread the diagram or
So
whatever.
did you look back at the menu?
I did look back at the menu.
Did it
There's
mention-
no hints of cranberries or blue cheese. So I had thrown away the receipt. I went through my garbage and found the receipt. I am going to go over to Paisanos
Oh my God,
and get
you're
my
not.
freaking money back.
Oh, you're not.
Yes, because you know what? I ordered the salad. I got the soup. It cost me $27.
Oh my God.
You got to be kidding me. And plus, that was 3 hours of non-door dashing. That freaking Andy's luncheon cost me over $70. Fuck that.
This is going to be Michael Douglas from Falling Down.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one
Yeah,
either.
that's how this starts.
One time at band camp. Okay.
Let me ask you something. Wait a minute.
Are we a
It was
sports
his,
show?
It was his birthday luncheon,
Yes.
and what? You split the bill 20 ways?
Everybody,
that is
it was
ridiculous.
all separate checks.
That
Separate
is
checks.
effing
Wow.
ridiculous. Okay.
Did he
All
pay
right.
for his own?
It was, it was in company of Clear Channel, so as we all know, it's called Cheap Channel, and
Yep.
so they didn't pay the tab.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You got here's a guy in Andy Everett who's been at Clear Channel iHeart forever,
I don't know,
Since-
30 years?
at least.
Yeah.
You can't afford to buy him a lunch with
20
30
of his
people?
friend?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's horrible.
And it's-
Did you enjoy football this weekend, boys?
I did. You want to start there? Or you want to start with the Spurs last night? It's up to you.
Or the
okay.
Spurs over the last week.
It's been an interesting week
It
for
has.
the Spurs. I mean, you've
Okay.
got back-to-back victories in there.
Yep.
One against Minnesota, another one, probably a should-win game. And then last night, they have another should-win game or likely victory
And give
against
it
the
away in the
Wizards. And
fourth.
they just kiss it away.
They're playing better. They're better defensively. They didn't make enough plays at the end of the game last night to beat the Wiz. But one thing I took away from that game was they are constantly being lazy on defense. There was a play last night. I don't know if you saw the game, but in the fourth quarter, Wemby has a easy dunk that he could have slammed it right down their throat. He's all by himself at the basket, right? So he just takes the ball and he just flushes it.
Yep.
With no authority or anything like that. The
Yeah,
Wizards
gently.
take the ball.
Yeah.
The Wizards take the ball out, and somehow, some way, they beat the entire Spurs team down the floor, and they were already down the floor, and beat them for a freaking layup at the basket. How the hell is that possible?
Yeah, there are signs that things are improving, but look, they've been bad closing out games all year. I mean, I'd love to see what their record is in close games. We'll say games under 6 points. It's got to be miserable because late fourth quarter execution for this team is bad, and it's probably what you would expect from such a young team. But they gave it away again last night, and 2 days ago, a friend of mine sent me via text an actual form letter, and it was Jeremy Sohan apology form because Sohan had a big night over the weekend.
Yeah, 30-something points, right?
Yeah, and last night he shits the bed. He has 2 points and 5 rebounds. Man,
Yeah.
he was an atrocity.
They're
And
humans.
he's
They're humans.
lazy on defense as well. He doesn't give it 100% all the time.
He's supposed to be our defensive guy, Wally,
Yeah.
and he's young. There's no excuse for being.
He's got
lazy.
flashes of brilliance, and then other times he looks like he should be cut.
Yeah.
But so here's my question. This is my thing with the Spurs. And I heard this came into my head. I was listening to Joe Reinagel and whoever else was with him complaining about this team, this franchise is not getting where they need to be. They're not getting the job done, all that kind of stuff. I'm so frustrated with this team. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, how could you be frustrated with this team? Then there's two different things going on here. First of all, if you're frustrated that the Spurs are not a better team right now, you got no case. Because what did you expect them to do? What did you expect this team to be once Wemby got on this team? The team was god-awful a year ago. Historically bad defensively. They can't hit three-pointers. You throw Wemby into the mix, and what do you expect them to be, a playoff contender? If you did, you're just a moron.
I hear what you're saying, but those guys would come back at you and they would say, well, I would expect that adding a 7'4" freak of nature and the number 1 overall pick would at least improve our win total. And to this point, we're basically on pace to win the same or less.
Well, here's the thing, and Pop had one of his best moments. I think it was the pregame talk, and Pop is good during pregame. He sucks after the games, but the pregame is when you actually get him to talk about stuff. And he talked about Wemby and the fact that they had no idea what this kid was when they got him. They threw him into the games. They gave him no instructions. They told him just go out there and play because they wanted to find out what he was good at, what he enjoys to do, and just how he likes to play his game.
Yeah, preferences.
Yeah,
And so they had no idea what they had. So the first point was, if you got no idea what you have in him, how could you possibly surround him with players? Because you don't know what fits with him.
Yep.
Because you never knew. And I said this before he played one game for the Spurs. They had no idea what he was. You didn't know whether he was a three-point shooter. You didn't know if he was a back-to-the-basket guy. He doesn't have enough strength there. Blah 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 blah. So there was no way that the Spurs could put pieces around him to start with because they didn't know what they had in this kid. So that's one frustration taken care of. The other one, though, is true. The Spurs have done an awful job of building this franchise over the last 5, 6, 7 years. You look at, and a lot of people talked about this during at the Oklahoma City game, because Oklahoma City is very much, or was very much like where the Spurs were, and you think
In
about
tank mode,
yeah.
losing a lot of games.
and you
yeah.
think, and you look, and you think about it, and you say, well, Oklahoma City's been losing, they've been tanking for 10 years, right? No, they haven't. Oklahoma City has had 2 seasons of 20-win seasons. That's it. The rest of them have all been in the 40s. So if you think they were, and I certainly thought they've been tanking forever. It's like, God, Sam Presti, he's terrible. What has he done over there? Well, they've been consistent 40-game winners. Now, they haven't won any championships. They haven't been a championship contender. But they have certainly built their team and built their franchise much better than the Spurs have, where the Spurs have had, I think it's 5 consecutive seasons now, or it will be with this one, of 20 wins or 25 wins or less.
I mean, the Spurs are the shopping mall. We had some really, really good tenants, and then we kind of like rested on our laurels, and those tenants have moved out, and we brought back a good tenant, and now we're trying to find the other tenants. We're rebuilding our shopping mall.
Okay, all right.
But you
Good
look at
analogy.
all right, but you look at the draft picks the Spurs have gone through here, and I think we can say,
Hey, let me say something real quick because
ahead.
I know where you're going. Dirty fucking secret in this city for anybody who knows the Spurs organization. The Spurs have been bad at drafting since Sam Presti left. And that's true. It's true.
okay,
They just haven't had the success that they had prior to Sam, when Sam was video coordinator and then eventually, an assistant coach.
was he
As head
was
of
he
scouting, I
responsible
wanna
for
say.
Kawhi?
Uh,
I think he was. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. You're right. That would be the one success. You're right. Good call. But by and large, the Spurs have gotten it wrong.
I agree. I think we can probably conclude that Vassell is a keeper, at least for now. He is.
Yeah, he's not bad, but he wasn't the best player at that position at that pick in his draft.
Keldon Johnson. At this point, I'm getting rid of him.
But to the Spurs' credit, he was a late first-round draft choice, if memory serves, 28th overall, I want to say. You can't expect those guys to be starters necessarily.
All right.
I mean, I think Keldon Johnson has performed to his draft status, to where he was drafted.
I think he had. Yeah, and I think he's. Listen, to be an Olympic player is pretty good. I think he's definitely plateaued for sure.
Yeah.
And he is definitely on the trading block.
That's a good way to put it. He's plateaued.
I would if I'm the Spurs, I get rid of Keldon Johnson. I get rid of Dougie McDermott. And anyone else other than Wemby that you want. But the problem is with this team right now is they don't have any tradable pieces. What are you going to... Oh, well, I got to get rid of McDermott. Okay, what exactly do you think the Spurs are going to get back for Doug McDermott?
Bucket of chicken.
A second-round pick, maybe? What are you going to get for Keldon Johnson? If somebody trades for Keldon Johnson, you're not going to get anything good back because... If you're trading for Keldon Johnson, you're hoping he's the final piece for you to put you over the top. So you're not going to give anything valuable back to the Spurs. You're going to get draft picks and maybe a contract that's one of those last year contracts. But that's where they're at this point. But you look at the other draft picks. Malachi Branham. Is kind of fallen up here a little bit. Primo at number 13 a couple of years back, that turned into a bust. Wieskamp, nothing. Lucas Samanich, another complete bust. That was another top 15 pick that went kaboom. It hasn't been good.
I mean, what we're going to need to get better on the draft this year coming up. We have 2 second-round picks in addition to ours. 2025, we have 3 first-round picks.
Well, yeah, that's how they're going to have to build this team because...
And they're going to have to do it well.
Let's be frank. Nobody wants to sign here as a free agent. Why would you?
You didn't even mention Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie Walker, yeah.
I mean, look, it's been bad. There's no question about it.
Nope.
And here's the thing.
Hasn't worked.
For the Joe Reinagle, who I guess he was freaking out about why this team isn't better, if you expected them to be better, then you're the fool, okay? Yeah. The Western Conference is far too challenging, and Victor Wembanyama is far too young. You're trying to build this team to be competitive when Victor Wembanyama is ready to take over the league. Not for year 1. Nobody ever thought he was going to be that guy. But by year 4, you expect him to be that guy. Now, if the Spurs, in retrospect, if they had drafted well with Lonnie Walker, with Blake Wesley, with Lucas Samanic, with all of these
Primo.
picks, Primo. If they had drafted those guys well, those guys would still be on the timeline for 4 years from now.
Sure.
But they blew it. Okay? I mean,
Yep.
Blake Wesley, look, I have thought he was terrible, and he is finally showing signs that maybe he's a little bit better than terrible. But he's not like a cornerstone of your franchise. You can't pencil him in for being the 7th man on your team in 2027, can you?
No.
No, hell no.
No.
Like we're a long way away. What did I say the other day to a friend of mine? I think we're 3 years away from being 2 years away.
Okay.
Okay?
It all depends. It depends on how they draft.
Yeah, and you're going to have to get them right.
But here's the thing. You have to be bad again because you got no other choice. The Spurs have to be in the draft lottery and get a really good player because how else are they going to acquire talent on this team? You're not going to get free agents because they don't want to come here. Why? Because Coach Pop's going to coach you? Listen, Coach Pop is a hard ass. Nobody wants to play under Coach Pop unless they got a championship opportunity or an Olympic gold medal. Otherwise, he's a hard ass. I'm not going to break my ass with this team in San Antonio. Who cares? Listen, the one draw to come to San Antonio Spurs is you don't get booed. You never get booed.
True fact. True
Well,
fact, you don't.
If you're Kawhi Leonard, you get booed, and then you get yelled at.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I kind of disagree with you on the free agent thing. I mean, first of all, it's hard for anybody in the league to attract free agents. It's really, really hard. That's just not the way player movement has trended over the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Guys force trades to places,
Yeah.
but they don't really go into free agency as often as you think. I mean, it's rare. I mean, you look back
Yes.
at this past summer, Fred VanVleet was maybe the top or among the top free agents that were available.
Well, Lillard, too. Lillard wanted to get out. And where did he he didn't mention the Spurs as a destination.
But again, he wanted out.
He wanted
He
out,
was
yes.
never a free agent. And he demanded that he go somewhere with a guy that he could latch onto in a small market, let's be honest. In Milwaukee, he wanted to latch on to Giannis. The Spurs have to hope that 4 years from now, making up a name, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is frustrated with his time in Oklahoma City and says, I want to hitch my wagon to Wemby and
That's-
play my final contract with Wemby.
Yes, that's what you got to hope for. You got to hope for landing a player that is frustrated about where he is currently playing.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, and then you
by
have to draft
trades,
well.
and trading for players with your and using your draft capital.
That's right.
That's how they'll build a team. You're not going to get a free agent to come here. I don't see it.
I don't either. I mean, maybe you could get somebody on a Fred VanVleet level, like, the $22 million player, but you're not going to get a max player to come here
I'm with
in
you.
free agency.
I'm with
It's
you.
just not going to happen. Other weird things that happened. We had another bat incident. Did you guys love that or what?
I didn't see it happen, but
Victor Wembanyama was fucking freaked, man. Maybe he's never seen a bat. Do they have bats in France? Of
Yes,
course
they have
do.
bats in
Of course
France.
they do. Yeah.
But the coyote went out there with a net.
That was awesome, man. And the Batman costume, and you saw the look on Ginobili's face in the crowd.
I'm sure he wanted to go out there and grab him again.
Yes. It's still the coolest story in Spurs lore. Like when I told my kids who are 8 and 5 about Ginobili catching a bat, they were like, no. Yeah, that fucking happened, man.
And don't you ever do it, kids,
Yes.
because you'll get sick and it could bite you and you'll die.
Rabies shots.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks, Dad.
No, to finish that off, though, I really am surprised that people had such high expectations. They're the fools for having felt that way. Okay.
But, one question that's been coming up a little bit is Rookie of the Year. I mean,
He is.
He is.
Victor.
And a week ago, I didn't think so.
He's
but
better than Chet. There's no question.
In the last 2 weeks, I have seen a difference between the two, and Wemby is now ahead.
yeah, though I wonder with Oklahoma's success, does Chet come out higher in the voting because of that? Because, Victor's playing on the Spurs, which, other than getting a lot of national attention and a lot of visibility and televised coverage, not all that good. So does Victor get downgraded because of that? Even though
I
his
don't think
stat
so.
line is amazing
I
compared
don't-
to Chet's.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get downgraded because of that. I will be honest with you and tell you, It would not surprise me at all if this is the first shared Rookie of the Year since Jason Kidd and Grant Hill.
Yep.
I'll be surprised.
It would that
Because
wouldn't
I
blow
think-
me away.
I think with the minutes restriction now being over, apparently, because of the foot injuries, I think he'll just blow it away.
He might just he might
hope
edge
so.
him at the tape.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's still the same player, though. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's changed a little bit here, but he still has that issue of going too fast. He still looks somewhat out of control, but
And
he's on his way.
and he's turned a corner since they've kind of repositioned him on the court.
Well,
And given him more of the
since-
center role.
And
Yeah.
since they moved Sohan out of the point guard position and put Trey Jones there, that has worked out.
Everything's gotten better a little
Yeah,
bit since then.
A little bit.
Okay.
Real quick
Championship
before
Sunday.
we go to the NFL.
Okay.
Real quick. Did you guys watch a lot of basketball either last night, Monday night, or Saturday night by any chance?
I just watched the Spurs game last night.
Holy shit, the basketball last night and Saturday night have been so good. Like, so good. The Wizards and Spurs were super close last night. The Bucks and the Nuggets was fantastic. Jokic put up like 26 and another triple-double
No kidding.
against Giannis. Mavericks over the Magic by 2. Rockets went in and beat L.A.
Well, you had Doncic the other night with, 70?
73.
73, and then you had Embiid with the blowout against the Spurs.
Yep. T-Wolves in a great game against the Thunder last night. I mean, it's been really good. Kings, Grizzlies, it's been really competitive. Even Celtics Pelicans last night was like really good basketball, man.
Now, I don't know if I've made this declaration on this show already. I know I already have, but to me, and there was a little bit of a wrench put into this because of Julius Randle going down the other day. But before Randle's injury, the Knicks are more than capable, in my opinion, of winning a championship with this group.
Ooh, that's a lot. No, sir. No, sir.
They have 3 very good players. They have Brunson, they have Randle, and now they have Anunoby. That team is more than capable of winning, and plus they're the best defensive team in the league. They could win a title. I didn't say they will, but they could win a title. They're as good as Boston. They're as good as anybody in the East.
They're as good as I've seen the Knicks. Goodness.
In a long time,
30 years?
maybe since '99.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Possible.
Like,
Yeah.
This is the best they've been. I agree with you there. They've won 7 in a row. They're playing great basketball, and Randall goes down, but I don't know that hurts them all that much. I mean, this is Brunson's team, and they showed it last night. They won without him. They're really good.
But that
I
shows
don't
you
think
how
they're as good as Boston.
That shows you how good they are, that they have multiple ways of scoring, which has not been the case for them in the past. They've relied way too much on Brunson come playoff time to bail them out. And so I think this will turn out be good for them. They'll figure out different ways to score without having Randall in there, because sometimes the ball can stick with Randall. And so I think this may give them a little bit of an education.
Boy, did Mark Cuban fuck up letting Jalen Brunson go.
Oh, no
I
question.
mean, all he had to do was pay the guy, and it's just
Too
a
bad.
horrible mistake.
Hey, the
And
Knicks
look how good he is in New York. He's changed that fucking franchise,
No question.
man.
They have screwed over the Mavericks twice. They did with Brunson, and by dealing Kristaps Porzingis, who never worked out for them because he could never stay on the floor. He's always hurt.
Good point. I almost forgot Saturday night, double overtime between the Warriors and Lakers. It was tremendous basketball, man. Just Curry and LeBron going back and forth. I don't know.
Warriors are done.
They're very close to done.
Their dynasty's over.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if Steph gets moved.
No way.
He's 37.
No way.
This is the time to get rid of him. If
The
you're a smart franchise, this is the time to get rid of him.
rumor has always been that he wants to go home to Charlotte, North Carolina, where he was raised. And his dad's franchise, Del Curry's franchise, the Charlotte Hornets.
Which, of course, is another name for New York City. How about Steph at the Garden? Oh my goodness, that would be fantastic.
That's
We'll
just
see.
not realistic. But
when you do-
there's
wouldn't you
rumors
trade
of him.
him?
Oh, of course you'd take him. Of course you
No,
would.
wouldn't you trade him if you're the Warriors right now?
There's no way. They're going down
Why?
with the they're going down with the ship of
That's
Draymond and
stupid.
Clay and Curry.
Yeah.
I realize it's stupid, but they have young guys to take over for next. They're fine. They got lots of money. They got the championship rings to boot. Like, they're cool for
Yeah,
a
but they're
little
not
while.
winning another title. Steph Curry's not winning another title with the Golden State Warriors. Agree?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, so get rid of him. Trade him now. Get as much stuff as you can. They'll get a king's ransom for him, and they'll be much better off. Make the trade.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, let's get to football.
Let's do it. Championship Sunday. How much did you enjoy it?
I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah?
Thoroughly entertained.
All right.
Absolutely. So this is my big takeaway. You had two coaches, one who decided to stick to his guns and go for it on fourth downs and partially cost himself the Super Bowl. The other coach decided not to stick to his guns and also lost because he decided for some reason, which is unexplainable, you ran the football, you were the best running team in the league.
Yeah.
And you decided not to run the football. Made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offense, yeah. Well, I mean, my problem with what the Ravens did was adjust at halftime. I mean, I almost think that was the story of both of those games. Ravens didn't adjust at halftime, lost that game. 49ers adjusted at halftime and won that game.
Yeah, but you got to just keep let's talk about adjustments. But you got to just keep running the football. Just because a team loads the box doesn't mean you should get away from what you do.
It's ridiculous that they went that game, and frankly, at halftime they started throwing the ball more than they had in the first half. They had 6 carries by their running backs.
It's crazy.
Six. That's fucking nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And
made
they've been
no
running
sense.
on people, gashing people all year.
And this is my personal pet peeve, and I'm going to bring it up and see if you guys bite on this bait.
Okay.
Dan Campbell's decisions to go on fourth down, good or bad decision?
They were bad.
Why?
Not all of them were bad decisions.
Why was it a bad decision?
Well, first of all, to me, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt on these decisions because of what he did at the end of the game, running the football on third down at the 1. And cost himself a chance to win the game because if he throws the ball there, the clock stops. He doesn't need to use a timeout because once he uses timeout, he's done. Because there's no such thing as an onside kick anymore. You got no chance of getting it. You got a 1 in 50 chance of getting it back.
Yep. On that one, he should have kicked a field goal much earlier in that drive. In fact, when he was at fourth down and converted earlier in that drive, he should have kicked a field goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And given himself more time.
That's right.
Now, my bone to pick, and this is with fans in general, and every one of them has said this, and it pisses me the hell off. It's a bad decision. He shouldn't have gone on fourth down because he didn't make it. Wrong.
Because he didn't make it.
Because he didn't make it. You can't play the results like that.
That's my point. I have lots of fan friends that do that shit. It was a bad decision because it didn't work out. And he could have and actually I think one of the reasons for his decision is he's got a kicker who's been okay in a dome and
had no attempts outside.
Nope. And this was my impression watching that game. I didn't see it live, so I had to watch it in replay. And I think if you watch that first half and you don't pay attention to the score and you just watch how each offense and defense performs and matriculates the ball down the field, that game was closer in the first half than the score indicated. Okay. The 49ers were able to move the ball. They had their missed field goal. Jake Moody doesn't miss that field goal normally. If he makes that field goal, I think the tenor of that first half changes. Now, the 49ers defense kind of didn't show up. I don't know what the hell they were doing. They weren't closing the box. They weren't protecting anything. So that was disturbing to me.
They're going to get blown out in the Super Bowl if they tackle like that. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
If they tackle like that, they're going to lose by 35. That was fucking embarrassing. Their secondary couldn't hit a fly. Yeah. I mean, it was really bad, man.
Yeah.
And if they start slow like that against Kansas City, you're going to find yourself behind Mahomes the way the Ravens just did, and now you're pressing. Right?
Yeah. Yep. And I think if the 49ers win the toss, take the ball.
Okay.
Because Shanahan normally will defer and try to get the twofer around halftime. Take the ball, go out, take a lead. I actually think that's what hurt them in both this game, the Lions game, and the Green Bay game. They gave up that first drive, and I think it put them on their back feet.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so Dan Campbell definitely deserves partial blame here, no question about that. But also, let's not forget, Josh Reynolds was god-awful. Those 2 drops were just absolutely huge. He killed them.
Isn't it terrible
Absolutely killed them.
that he went to Taft High School here in San Antonio? It's really makes it worse, doesn't it?
And
yes.
And my other pet peeve to all the analysts, stop with this shit that the Lions gave this game away. The 49ers gave the first half away. The Lions gave the second half away.
The game was over. They had them.
It could have been over. The Lions play calling, you were right. 7 rushing attempts in the second half.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and most of those by quarterbacks.
Yeah, so I mean
Lamar.
But the Niners made up that 17-point deficit in 8 minutes. 8 minutes of game time.
But it all changed, those couple of plays there right in the middle. You got the unbelievable Ayuk catch off of the guy's face mask, all that stuff.
Just
and
lucky.
then you had the fumble coming up after that. They scored a touchdown, and all of a sudden the game is just completely changed in those 3 plays.
So here's my issue with Dan Campbell, and I'm glad you brought that up because momentum is a real thing.
Yep.
And sometimes you've just got to squelch the momentum that's coming your direction, right? You got to put out the 49ers fire, and you got to kick a field goal to go up 3.
And I've heard that argument, but does a field goal really put out the fire?
It does for a minute. It holds them off. Okay. It says, I know that you're just pillaging us all over the field. But we're not. We're going to stand up for ourselves.
I mean, but if I make a big 4th down, does that not? Listen, I give Dan Campbell credit because he went out to win the game. That's what his idea was. I'm going for these 4th downs because I want to win the game.
Walter, if it was 4th and 1,
if Josh Reynolds makes that freaking catch, which he should have, the game is over.
If you look at the analytics of what the analytics were saying, the chance of winning those games were the same whether he goes for 4th or goes for the field goal.
Yeah, it was virtually the same.
So it's kind of a wash. And you're absolutely right. You go for a field goal, you get a field goal, it does squelch momentum. Even for me at the beginning of that game, if Moody makes that first field goal, I think the tenor of the game changes entirely. If Campbell's able to make those, I think it quelches the momentum. But the 49ers and their crowd came out hard to start the second half, and that second half drive really got the crowd behind him. That turnover on the first play, that fumble on the first play, which wasn't him dropping the ball. That was a defensive play.
It's a great defensive play.
If that fumble happens,
I disagree with that.
Really?
Because
you need to protect the ball.
He never really had that ball in his basket. Never did.
If that fumble happens 5 or 6 plays later, I think it's a little bit of a difference. But the fact that the Lions defense was out there, got scored on, and has to go back out there right away.
And that's why you have to kick the damn field goal. Just to put them on their back feet for a second and let them know, hey, we're putting 3 points on the board. We're taking the lead back. Here's my thing with going for it, Walt. And I realize that's how Dan Campbell, got the respect of this team. That's how he earned it, by being swashbuckling and aggressive. And everybody has hopped on board with Dan Campbell, and good for him and good for the Lions organization that they found a leader. However, you're not trying to win the locker room at that point. You're trying to win the game. And it wasn't 4th and 1 at the 1, 4th and goal at the 1. It was still out on the field.
Sure.
If Reynolds, this is where you and me differ, if Reynolds makes that catch, it doesn't complete the game because you don't know what's going to happen after that. It wasn't like it was in the end zone. You don't have a guaranteed 7.
Okay.
Take the fucking 3 points.
And Dallas Cowboys fans, you need to be scared. You're gonna run back your staff against an NFC that looks like it has a really good Lions team next season, a really good Green Bay Packers team next season, and the 49ers are going to be back next season because they're going to be able to reload that staff pretty well. Cowboys,
And you still have Mike
be,
McCarthy.
be happy where you are.
And give credit to Purdy. Purdy was very good in that second half. That little floating pass. If it was anybody else, it was 95% of the teams in the NFL. That pass would have been intercepted and ran back for a touchdown, not for the 49ers because they're a bunch of winners.
God, how about that pass throwing across his body while he's going right to left and just one hand up in the air? That was a thing of beauty.
Like I said, it would have been picked off on 95% of the other teams.
Juxtaposition between what Purdy did in the second half and what Lamar Jackson did for his team in the second half. I mean, come on, let's like really make a comparison there. And I realize Lamar's the MVP, but he and his teammates,
he wasn't good.
Choked. They choked, man. His coaches choked by not running the football. His defense choked by committing, 6 personal fouls?
Oh, my God, that one taunting? Inexcusable.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Inexcusable.
Zay Flowers. Yeah, that was terrible. Terrible. The fumble at the 1 yard line by Zay Flowers, they choked, man. They choked.
Agree.
And Brock Purdy went into halftime. Whatever got said in there, they came out a completely different football team.
I liked Alex Smith's comment. He's like, I'm the president of the Game Managers Club, and he's not allowed.
Yeah, he's just better than that. I saw that.
That's
yeah. What else you got over there, Walt, as we're running out of time, I see?
All right, a couple of quick ones here. Baylor announced this week that they are going to retire Brittany Griner's jersey February 18th against Texas Tech. So I just wondered, I wonder if it will be vape night.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Okay.
You know what I thought you were going to say?
No.
Does it get retired for the men's side and the women's side, or just the women's side?
That's Jeff Vexler at clearchannel.com.
Well, I'm serious. I don't know how that works. When you retire a number in college basketball, is it for both the men's and women's programs?
No, I wouldn't think so. Why?
I don't know.
I don't know, but she's not going to be getting a hammer and sickle as a present.
Definitely not.
No. Let's see. Buc-ee's is overrated.
Absolutely.
The Beaver Nuggets are a completely awful product.
Oh, my God. No, they're not.
Yes,
no,
they're
they're
not.
not.
Yes,
no, they're the best gift to civilization.
No, they're not.
Fuck Buc-ee's. Sorry. I'm the one who said
Buc-ee's.
it. I can't stand it. And I can't stand
the gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they got listen. Their shredded beef brisket sandwiches are very good, but they're you're paying $7 for them. What do you expect? They should be good.
They got clean bathrooms. That's the best I can say about them.
Fantastic.
And by the way, their owner, terrible politics, just terrible.
And if you ever go to a party with the owner's son, don't go to the bathroom.
That's right. The owner's son, Walter, if you remember this, at their lake house had like a peeping hole in the rooms. And was videotaping chicks.
Very nice. Very nice. Joe Biden, there's news out there that he is interested in closing the Mexico-U.S. border. And I thought to myself, when I saw this yesterday, I go, that doesn't make... Oh, that's right. The election is right around the corner. This is a good time to close the border, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like that, Joe Biden.
Politics are sleazy, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like. This is a golden opportunity for a third candidate to squeeze in there, but there isn't one.
No.
Suits to me is one of the best shows I've watched in the last year.
Wow, that came out of left field.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
I love Suits.
I haven't watched it.
Oh, it's a terrific show.
Okay.
I got into a Twitter fight over the weekend after the game on Sunday with former NFL player Bernard Pollard.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
I remember him. Tight end, Colts?
No, a defensive back.
Oh, I'm thinking of Tony Pollard.
Yes. Well, he's the running back for the Cowboys still.
Oh, no,
Bernard Pollard was, I forget where the hell he played.
What the fuck am I thinking of?
But he was a secondary guy. He said initially that Campbell should be fired.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
With 3 or 4 tweets, I changed his mind.
No, and for the Lions, I mean, to go back to that, that's a process. That's 3 years. He's 3 years into that tenure, and he's totally turned around that franchise. Fine. They lost the game. Fine. They didn't adjust. Fine. He may or may not have made bad decisions.
But they're still
run
losing
with Dan
franchise.
Campbell. Yeah, because they have 60 years of losing.
Yeah, can't make up for it in 18 games.
You go back and look at I heard somebody talk about the guy on New York City radio yesterday talking about it. You look at losing franchises, traditional losing franchises, they have to have an epic moment to break through. And it remains to be seen whether the the Detroit Lions will have one.
Well,
Okay.
it'll be next year.
We
but
shall see.
Better than the Jets.
I saw this. Somebody was bagging on Fiesta here in San Antonio, and it made me think of this. Fiesta and Vegas are basically the same place. If you don't like drinking, don't go to Fiesta. If you don't like gambling, don't go to Vegas.
Okay. All right. That's good
they're,
logic.
They're the same thing, right?
No,
Aren't they?
I can go to Vegas for the shows.
Oh, come on. Who the hell does
You
that?
can. Not me.
The
Help
only,
me out.
the only person who says that would be a 65-year-old person who's interested in playing bingo.
What's wrong with
Other than
bingo?
that,
I'm going to let you do a couple more, and then I got a couple.
there's nothing wrong with bingo.
Okay.
The last one I have for you is two more. Check out my new internet sensation, On the Truck with Wally. It's on my Facebook page. No holds barred there. Rip into everything and use curse words. And if you're interested in being a DoorDash person, you can make anywhere between, I would say, anywhere between $13 and $17 an hour delivering DoorDash. And if you're interested and want to make a little extra money, get in touch with me on the social medias. I will reference you. That way, both of us can make a little extra cash by getting referenced.
All
There
right.
you go.
Couple of quick.
Go
I
ahead.
watched a really interesting documentary last night about the most boring thing you could possibly imagine.
Okay.
Orthodontics. Okay, so have you heard of something called mewing?
No, but dental
Is
stuff
that what
gives me the
cats
creeps.
do?
No, it's not what cats do. It's some sort of an exercise that you do with your tongue against the roof of your mouth that it increases your jaw strength and your jawline, makes you have a better looking, jawline. And it's Mew. Dr. Mew is this guy from England who has invented, he basically says, Walter, that the traditional form of braces pull the teeth in and that distorts the face, making it look ugly. You really want to push the teeth out to get them enough room to grow in straight. So he
Okay, I can see that.
starts training kids from like 4 years old to do these exercises and wear these weird implants. And he swears that he is making kids better looking and with better natural teeth.
God, this is fascinating. No, it's not. Why the hell would you watch this? Who gives a rat's ass?
I'm telling you, it was kind of interesting.
No, it's not.
Okay, all right. So last week on the show, I mentioned that there was a fight in the G League that went into the stands.
Yes.
Yep.
Coming out of that, just in case y'all were curious, 2 players suspended a couple of games. It wasn't that bad. But on the heels of that, I heard this from Brian Scalabrine this morning, and it's just something, food for thought, and maybe we can bring it up next week or another week. Is the G League Ignite program really helping players? If you go through the list of guys who played for the G League Ignite, they are disappointed. They are disappointing, I'm sorry to say. Scoot Henderson, the Thompson brothers, Jonathan Kuminga. It's a pretty long list. Yeah, we're going to have to think about this. I think it's been bad for everybody. It hasn't worked out if you've played in the G League Ignite.
All right, but the Spurs, I think, have used the G League to their advantage.
Yes, but not the Ignite. That's the program that uses, kids that are coming out of high school and trying to go straight to the pros, and they mix them with seasoned veterans
Okay.
on that roster.
Isn't that where Wemby came from? Wemby came from...
No, he came from the Metropolitans, right?
Yeah, he came
Yeah.
from the French Pro League.
Yeah.
He was a
that's
professional.
But
okay.
he played
Sorry.
against G League Ignite a couple of
Okay.
times last
Okay.
year.
All right.
And those guys just have not worked out well.
So the Ignite... Explain this to me. So the Ignite is different from the G League?
No, they're just a team within
Okay.
the G League.
What team are they associated with? None?
None.
They're just an independent G League team.
Yes.
I gotcha. Okay.
Last thing before we go, did you see the move from Wemby on Saturday night? The Sham God crossover? Did y'all see it?
No.
Do you know what a Sham God is?
I'm guessing it's named after the point guard.
God, Sham God. Yeah. Yeah. It's a particular move that you do where you throw it out with one hand and pull it back with the same. Ginobili used it a couple of times.
Oh, okay. It's basically just a fake. Okay.
Yeah. Wemby is definitely the tallest player in the history of the NBA
To do that.
to ever do a Sham God.
I did see that move, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. We can talk Super Bowl preparation next week. We don't have to get to our picks yet. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome Super Bowl. And congratulations to your 49ers, Bob. They pulled through when it did not look like it.
Did not deserve to win either game. We did win both games.
Yeah, they better not play like that again.
I
Nope,
have to
need
go.
to come out fast.
Me too.
Okay.
Peace
Cheers.
Peace out.
Subscribe and like.
What he said.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. I said the groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move.